The supervisory hand of a parent or guardian is essential for setting a child up for success. This statement rings true across time, space, and story, even in a tale like A Song of Ice and Fire. While boys and girls became men and women at an earlier age, and were thus sooner exposed to the harsh realities of life as compared to other works or the real world, children were still children. Fun and full of potential, yes, but also ignorant and petulant. And when there was none who could show such a child the way through the challenges of nature and nurture, poor results followed. Though the Stark family was close, circumstances tore them apart, and their youngest child suffered as much as any of his brethren. This child was Rickon Stark. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. Still just a boy when the North played host to a king, Rickon was marred by the events that followed the arrival of the monarch of the Seven Kingdoms. He lost his parents, who were supposed to be his primary teachers and caretakers. He lost the fellowship of his brothers and sisters, who were supposed to act as role models in both play and socialization. His greatest companion was his direwolf Shaggydog, but such a beast could not mold Rickon in the ways of a civilized human. Rickon Stark grew to be aggressive, temperamental, lost, and confused without his family, especially his parents, and displayed with his very existence the essence of an abandoned child. So, who exactly is Rickon Stark, and why is he such an interesting character? Let's explore. Rickon Stark was born in the year 295 AC in Winterfell to Lord Eddard Stark and his wife Lady Catelyn. He was the third son of the pair, but the fifth overall child. He also had a half-brother, Jon Snow. Taking after his mother and a few of his siblings, Rickon inherited the Tully traits: auburn hair, glistening blue eyes, and a natural smile. As all younger brothers do, he often imitated and idolized his older brothers, following them about and nagging them with his stubborn nature. Yet, he was still a small child, and so was left out of the most dangerous activities in which his kin took part. Rickon Stark first appears in A Song of Ice and Fire in A Game of Thrones, just like the rest of his family. While out on a northern expedition, Lord Eddard Stark and his sons old enough to travel stumble upon a litter of direwolf pups, and like his siblings, Rickon claims one for his own when his family returns to Winterfell. At first he fears the beast, but the pair soon warm up to each other. Rickon names him Shaggydog. After a brief visit from King Robert Baratheon to the stout northern hall, Eddard departs for King's Landing with his daughters, leaving Rickon behind with his mother Catelyn, his eldest brother Robb, and his incapacitated brother Bran. Catelyn suffers from terrible grief at the fate of her middle son, and thus overlooks Rickon, who instead listlessly follows Robb about the halls of Winterfell. Soon, Bran wakes, and Catelyn departs for King's Landing to inform her husband of the proceedings of the North, leaving Rickon solely in Robb's care. Though the acting Lord of Winterfell tries his best to attend to the needs of his baby brother, nothing can replace a mother's love. Rickon spends most of his time playing with the direwolves, and grows upset whenever his brother departs to address northern business. All the while, the restlessness of a child undisciplined grows within him. This temperament only increases, even exponentially so, when Robb announces he plans to ride south to war on behalf of his father and family. Rickon, seeing yet another mentor figure depart from his life, whines and complains like the child he is, hiding in the crypts with Shaggydog and hacking at Robb's men with an old sword. He even refuses to see his brother off, a missed opportunity he will surely grow to regret. Upset and confused, Rickon shares a dream with his brother Bran of their father Eddard in the crypt, and thus frees Shaggydog from his kennel, and beckons the direwolf to follow him to the ancient tomb. The pair sit in the shadows beside their father's empty place, and are soon joined by Bran, Osha, and Maester Luwin. But both Rickon and Shaggydog grow aggressive at the approach of their friends and brothers, even lashing out and wounding Luwin. The bitter aura of foreboding hangs in the air, and it is not the scent of death emanating from the crypts. Luwin brings the boys up to his tower, and it is there they learn by way of Raven that Eddard has been executed in King's Landing by order of new king Joffrey Baratheon. Rickon will see his father no more. As Robb declares himself king in the north, Rickon becomes a prince, but his young mind cannot, and will not, grasp this unfortunate truth. In A Clash of Kings, Rickon Stark remains at Winterfell with those who have not joined Robb in the south. As part of the alliance between houses Stark and Frey, Big and Little Walder Frey are sent to Winterfell as wards, and Rickon immediately takes a disliking to them. They are more combative than the younger children of Winterfell, and when they begin roughhousing with Rickon, Shaggydog bites Little Walder in his companion's defense. This forces Sir Roderick Castle to once again confine the Great Direwolf, along with Branswolf Summer, to the kennels, an action that pleases none involved. After their initial scuffle, however, Rickon changes his attitude toward the Frey boys, following them about and even showing them the solemn crypts of his home. Soon, guests from all across the north gather at Winterfell for the Harvest Feast, and Bran and Rickon meet Mira and Jojen Reed, the children of their father's longtime friend Howland Reed. While Jojen is more focused on Bran, he explains that he has seen both of the youngest Stark children in his dreams, once in the Winterfell crypts, and once being flayed alive by Reek. This second premonition, however, has yet to pass. The walls of Winterfell are no longer safe. Theon Greyjoy, having turned his cloak against his best friend and former king Robb Stark, now returns to the stronghold of the north with a band of Ironborn in tow, and takes the castle with little opposition. Rickon, along with Bran and the Reeds, is taken hostage, but the rest of the residents suffer worse fates. With the aid of Osha, Hodor, and the direwolf Summer and Shaggydog, the children disappear from captivity, prompting Theon and his new servant Reek to hunt through the nearby lands to avoid the embarrassment of losing their greatest bargaining chips. They fail to find the young lords of Winterfell, and at Reek's behest, Theon instead flays two sons of a local miller, and presents the bodies as Bran and Rickon. All across the Seven Kingdoms, news spreads of their unseemly demise. Scattered as they are throughout the land, the remaining Starks, including Catelyn, Robb, Sansa, and Arya, all grieve for their brothers in their own way. However, Bran and Rickon are not dead, though some of their family will not live to learn this truth. In reality, they hide in the crypts of Winterfell together with the Reeds, Osha, Hodor, and the direwolves, waiting for their chance to truly slip through Theon's fingers. Above them, the sacking of Winterfell ensues, as Reek reveals himself as Ramsay Snow, tearing through the castle and killing and capturing whoever he pleases. The fugitives emerge to find their home in ruins, and soon come upon Maester Luwin in the Godswood, whose life is quickly dwindling. He confers with Osha, and the pair agree that Bran and Rickon must be separated for the safety of all. While Bran sets out north with the Reeds, Hodor, and Summer, Rickon is led by Osha and Shaggydog east, though their final destination is unclear. In A Storm of Swords, Rickon Stark does not appear in the flesh, but he is in the thoughts of many across the Seven Kingdoms. Bran wonders where Osha has taken his younger brother. Robb stifles his grief through marriage to a woman he has only just met. Catelyn ponders the thought of her two youngest children in the afterlife. Even Jon Snow, amidst his escapades at and beyond the Wall, takes a moment to reflect on his half-brothers. In A Dance with Dragons, though, clues to the whereabouts of Rickon Stark are passed between those in the north who still yet pledge their allegiance to the Starks. Disgruntled and affronted, Lord Wyman Manderly sits at his home of White Harbor, where he hides the mute, ironborn boy Wex Pike. Wex survived the sacking of Winterfell, and reveals to Wyman and Rebet Glover that Rickon is indeed alive, and Osha is taking him to the island of Skagos. Wyman convinces Wex to share this news with Lord Davos Seaworth, and in exchange for his allegiance to Stannis Baratheon, Wyman tasks the Onion Knight with retrieving Rickon from the secluded isle. The rest of the North, meanwhile, is either oblivious to his existence, or works desperately to keep the truth from coming to light. Rickon Stark may never again know the feeling of having a complete family. He is only 4 years old as the events detailed in A Song of Ice and Fire begin to unfold, and though some may consider him blissfully ignorant to much of the strife that plagues his parents and siblings, he suffers in his own way. At arguably the most important developmental age, an age where he still depends on his parents for support and his brothers and sisters for companionship, Rickon is torn away from them all. Or, more aptly, they are torn from him. First, his father Lord Eddard departs on a deadly errand, and Rickon never sees him again, save for ominous premonitions. With Eddard to King's Landing go Rickon's sisters, Sansa and Arya, and while the former plots in the east with Littlefinger, and the latter trains with assassins across the Narrow Sea, there is no guarantee they will ever reunite with their baby brother. Rickon's older brother Robb rides south for war, robbing the boy of yet another dependable adult. But even worse is the abandonment of her young son by Catelyn Stark. She joins Robb in his war effort, choosing to leave Rickon behind at Winterfell. And while it is true Catelyn takes on important duties supporting her eldest son, she forgets, whether willfully or not, that she is also the mother of a boy just past the stages of infant, baby, and toddler. Without his mother, Rickon and his tantrums run unchecked. Together with Shaggydog, he lashes out at friend and foe alike, and while this behavior is typical for a small child, he no longer has anyone to keep him in line. The confusion and mayhem surrounding the Stark family throws his emotions and his entire life into disarray, and Rickon processes them in the only way he can, through the aggressive tirades of a lost child. Even Bran, his brother closest in age, and the one who has remained at his side when everyone else sauntered off, departs on his own journey in the end. Only Shaggydog remains, aside from the helpful yet unfamiliar hands of Osha. Yet even with their company, Rickon gains no substitute for what was lost. Before the War of the Five Kings, before the appearance of Robert Baratheon at Winterfell, the Starks were a complete family. Maybe not content, but complete. Now, though, at a time when he requires the gentle embrace of a mother, the strong voice of a father, the playful antagonism of brothers and sisters, he has none. Rickon's only response is to lash out, cry, and complain. At his age, he cannot comprehend his emotions or situation, and so reverts to the base nature of an upset child. While he may receive mentorship elsewhere, Rickon will never again experience life with a true family. Every life lost is a great tragedy, but every life ruined is similarly lamentable. Though he did not meet a gruesome or humiliating demise like much of his family, Rickon Stark suffered a fate nearly as cruel. He was robbed of his parents, brothers, and sisters in an unforgiving world. He responded with the petulance of a child, and displayed just how lost and needy he still was. Though he survived attempts on his life and the general tumult of a riotous North, Rickon was only a little boy, confused and upset, and left only with his great direwolf as family. While his older siblings had enough life experience and tact to pave their own ways in the world, Rickon was too young for such independence. He was lost. He was confused. He was abandoned. Rickon Stark had no hand to guide. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Visit my website, russelawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more. And sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.